Hey yo, what's going on? Attorney Michael Campbell, check it back in, one half for the Not Guilty Boys. I got my illustrious colleague, my illustrious co-partner, my friend and my brother, Attorney Andrew Wilkinson on the other end. What's going on, Drew?
You know what's really going on, per usual. Let's do it.
Hey, we know we've been out for a while. You know, we've been busy get ready for these cases and these trials we got coming up. But we thank all of y'all for sharing our videos. Continue to share our videos on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Like all our videos, share all our videos. Continue to show that continuous support and love. We really appreciate you, and we hear you out there. We're going to start another segment, what we call Legalese and Me. Legalese and Me is where we answer generic legal, criminal legal questions that a lot of you may have, a lot of you may wonder how you should be interacting with police, what you should be doing. We would be remiss as attorneys, criminal defense attorneys, if we didn't give that legal advice to you as to how you should be conducting yourselves when interacting with police or conducting yourselves when in a courtroom, in a criminal courtroom. So we're going to start out with our questions. Starting out, first question, will my lawyer speak for me in court? Will my lawyer speak for me in court? Drew, what do you say?
He better. I mean, especially if you paid him some money or if the county's paying him some money. That is indeed exactly what an attorney is, a criminal defense attorney or an attorney of any kind is your representation in court, is your bridge between you and the system to not only represent your thoughts and feelings and emotions that you feel about the case, but also to represent exactly what is needed for you to win. Yeah, I mean, especially in the criminal world, I mean, I tell my clients don't say nothing.
Right.
I don't let my clients testify until trial. We can be in a bond hearing and they're going to sit right next to me.
There you go.
And if we can't get it done, and if I ever did, it would be very strategic. But usually if we can't get the bond hearing done without you not testifying, then hey man, you might got to sit for a little bit until we, pony up and kick these people's ass in court. But other than that, yeah, he better from start to finish. To finish.
I think it's encompassed in one's constitutional rights. You have a right to remain silent and you have a right to counsel. And that right to remain silent is so key. I can't tell you how many cases we have won, how many cases we have lost because of a person not understanding their right to remain silent. Your silence could be the key in you getting a not guilty at trial. And when we say we want you to remain silent, we don't want you talking to the police. We don't want you writing no statements. We don't want you in jail talking too much to a jailhouse snitch. We don't want you talking to the prosecutor. We don't even want you too much talking to your family about what went on, because that silence is key in us defending your case. And we are that mouthpiece for you. So yeah, an attorney will talk for you in court because you have the right to remain silent. And that's why you have a right to counsel, because that counsel is your spokesperson in court. Be smart. Now, I know some of you think, hey, I'm a smart person. I may be smarter than my attorney. No, you're not. You may be.
You better get another attorney.
But you didn't spend 7 years in law school. You didn't spend 3 days taking this bar to be able to understand the intricate details of being a lawyer. So listen to your lawyer, trust your lawyer, listen to their advice, because they are giving you their professional, experienced, trained opinion on what you should do in your situation. So yeah, an attorney definitely will speak for you. You got anything else on that, Drew?
And I heard him say, we don't want you talking to jailhouse snitch. First of all, you wouldn't even know that the jailhouse snitch is the snitch until it's too late. You understand what I'm saying? Another thing that brought to the forefront of my mind, Mike, we had the client write a letter to his co-defendant. Well, guess what? That's going to be in the evidence. It ain't nothing you could do that's not going to be in the evidence. And quit writing letters to the judge. Just quit writing letters to the judge. A good attorney ain't going to give your letter to the judge.
Come on now.
Listen to me, and you don't even like hearing that. A good attorney probably ain't giving your letter to the judge. So we can move on to the next question.
Moving on to the next question. Is it true that my first charge is just a slap on the wrist? I'm going to say it depends on what that first charge is. What you think about that, Drew?
It needs to be first charge-ish. You understand what I'm saying? Because we get people, and I know why you laughing.
You know why I'm laughing.
We get people that think every charge across the board is the slap on the wrist. My G, I don't believe in stealing, but before you rob a bank, steal a candy bar.
Come on now.
You see what I'm saying? Like if you jumping, you niggas jump so far from the porch it ain't no coming back. You see what I'm saying? We had a parent the other day. Yeah, it's a murder, Mr. Wilkinson, Mr. Campbell, but he's never been in trouble before.
I love it.
Okay?
It don't matter no more.
What?
It don't matter.
I mean, he went from 0 to $1 trillion.
Yeah.
He went from no trouble to the worst crime you could possibly commit, allegedly. So that's what I'm saying. It's a trick question, but the normal and the regular answer is yes. Your first weed charge, yes. Your first burglary charge, yes. Your first assault charge, yes. Maybe your first robbery if it ain't ag, yes. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But so I will agree that is the biggest gun, no pun intended. That is the biggest gun you probably have to play with is the fact that we get to go in there and say, my client's never been in trouble. He's an upstanding citizen in the community. Right. He deserves a second chance. Whoop. Unless you jump so far from the damn porch, it ain't no coming back.
And what he means by so far from the porch. If you go stick up a 7-Eleven and put an AK-47 in everybody's face inside the store, it ain't no point of you coming to me and saying, well, this is my first offense. Or you're having your mama call me and say, well, my baby ain't never been in no trouble before. I understand that, ma'am. And I'm going to go in there and say that. But you got to realize what the prosecutor, because I have a job to anticipate. And I can anticipate what the prosecutor's going to say to me. They're going to say it don't matter. It don't matter that that's his first offense when you committed such a heinous type of crime.
Right.
So I would tell you individuals who are living that lifestyle that you just have to be smart. It don't matter if it's your first time. If you go in there and put a gun in everybody's face in the store, that put everybody in there in fear of jeopardy of losing their life, and they all can come and tell a story of how they put that in fear. And guess what them jurors gonna do? They gonna sit there and think, I wonder if that could have been me in that store. And then you think they're not going to have as much sympathy on you, Mr. First Time Offender, when you jumped off the deep end like that. That's what he mean by so far off the porch. Moving along. Moving along. We hear that a lot. That's why we kind of chuckle about it. It's no laughing ordeal, but we see and hear that a lot. Last question. How do I know if I have a good lawyer? Drew?
One that first and foremost knows the law, and knows how to apply the law. And by apply the law, that's knowing that, you got charged with a burglary, but the person let you in the house. Well, applying the law of burglary to that situation, if the person let you in the house, it ain't burglary. You see what I'm saying? Application, being able to anticipate, like Mike said. We have to anticipate using our talents, our experiences with these prosecutors, what they're going to say and how they're going to feel about your case. I should be able to explain my method to you. I should be able to explain what the plan is to you. And I'm always going to ask a person, some people think I'm being facetious, but one thing I always ask in a consultation is, what result do you seek? You see what I'm saying? Now, on one hand, I'm trying to track your reasonableness and see what type of person you are. On the other hand, I'm trying to get an understanding of what your expectations are so I can build a roadmap to it. You see what I'm saying? And lastly, can try a case. You have no idea. You have absolutely no idea. When I was in mock trial, right? Not a lawyer. I was a law student. Not a third-year law student. I was a second-year law student, okay? My mock trial coach told me that if I master these skills, when I got out, I would be better than 80% of the lawyers in the world, in the country, in the field, right? Because most lawyers don't know how to try a case. Right. You guys have no idea how many lawyers do not know how to try a case, but on top of that, are just petrified from that shit. Like, it scares them out their socks. They would rather send you up the road or just keep your money and let you hire somebody else than go to trial. You have no idea How many lawyers are that way? So all those skills that I said, but for sure going to trial, having some negotiation skills, and having a whole lot of fight in them, man. What about you, Mike?
Yeah, I agree. It involves a lot to be a good attorney. You have to have good communication skills. You got to be able to communicate to your client, which that could be hard. And you can also have to know how to communicate to a judge. You got to know how to communicate to the prosecutor. Also involved in being a good attorney, like he said, you can't be afraid of trial. I've heard some attorneys say, "Trial? Oh, why would I waste my time going to trial? I can't make no money in trial. I can't do no while I'm in trial." Well, that may be the attorney you want if you just want your case played out, or if you just want him to go in there and plea bargain. But in all situations, some people are innocent, and some people need a bulldog that's willing to go in there and stump down and say that my client is innocent in the face of adversity. And some attorneys are not willing to do that. I want you to think about that. Also, I would say get your attorney that isn't a good attorney. To me, is one who's not so focused on kissing butt in the courtroom, but focused on getting results. Now, you may think because I got a good butt kisser and he can go play golf with the DA and get me a reduced deal, that's a good attorney. No, that's just a good butt kisser, a good friend, or whatever you want to, however you want to term it. But to me, that's not a good attorney. He's not getting the results based on what he know. He's getting the results based on who he know. That may be something, he hangs his hat on. But me, I don't hang my hat on that. I hang my hat on knowing the law. I hang my hat on, and I'm a nice person naturally. So if I gravitate and I rock with a prosecutor, I rock with him. If I don't, I don't. But the deal and the case is not being worked out based on that relationship with that person. My deal is being worked out based on me telling them what the law is, applying it to the facts, and letting them know why they ain't got a good case and why they should be dropping this case down, because I'm going to kick their butt at trial if they go to trial with these type of facts, with this law. So, I'll let you guys decide what's a good attorney to you, but I'm just giving you what I know based on my experience.
For sure. And just to build on what he said about knowing the prosecutor, knowing the judge, what happens at election time? What happens when that judge is not reelected? What happens when that prosecutor is no longer the one on your case? You need somebody that can hang their hat on just their skill set and their confidence level and their ability to convince a jury to see things their way. It's really that simple. And somebody with some passion, man. Somebody with some passion. And I respect Judge from the other day, man. Did you hear Judge say, "It's not my place to tell you to be less passionate, Mr. Wilkinson"? Did you hear him say that?
Yeah,
In the
that's a
chambers?
good judge.
I ain't never heard a judge tell me that.
Shout out 485th. That's a
Yeah,
good
yeah,
judge.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That was cool, man. Tarrant
Yeah,
County too. That was
yeah,
cool. That was real cool.
yeah.
But yeah, somebody that loves doing what they're doing and that understands where you are. I've sat in a defense chair before. Mike has sat in a defense chair before. I've had to hire an attorney before. Mike has had to hire an attorney before. Every day when I go down to Dallas County, I see my probation officer from high school. I mean, stick that in your pipe and smoke it. But it's yeah, man. I mean, we'll let y'all decide what a good attorney is, but what do we know?
Yeah. Yeah. And we've only had a couple of people tell us we were good attorneys before, just a couple. Started with one of our cases that I would say really helped propel us to the forefront of the public. This was right after the Edward Thomas case back in 2019, in which we won against one of Dallas County's, I guess, top prosecutors. But right after the Edward Thomas case, we picked up a case in Hunt County, the state of Texas versus Brandon Gonzalez. Our client, Brandon Gonzalez, was accused of a mass shooting after a college party at a venue in Greenville. Multiple people were shot. I think at least 2 or 3 people died. They accused my client of being the shooter. The police that got involved, Hunt County Sheriff's Department, Greenville PD, and the Texas Rangers, they arrested my guy, Brandon Gonzalez. He was just a person who went to the party, but they arrested him less than 48 hours after the shooting. They plastered his face all over the news, called him a mass murderer, said that we got the guy. We was 100%, we got the right guy. This is the guy. He did this, and we're happy to say we got him. Okay? And we're not going to allow that to go on in our county, in our state. They just was all in front of the media. pumping their chest, giving each other high fives and ass slaps. But come to find out, when the shots rang out, factually, Brandon Gonzalez was actually in the car.
On FaceTime.
And the FaceTime is what saved him, because FaceTime is a recollection. It could be recorded. Okay. And he's on the FaceTime with another individual who is an eyewitness to his alibi. That, yeah, I was talking to him on FaceTime at 10:36 when those shots rang out. So my client in the car, he gets on FaceTime, he hangs up with his girl, gets out the car, everybody start running. That's all he see. He get in the car and he leave because everybody's running. Okay. They arrest him less than 2 days later and accused him of this because somebody said he looked like one of the guys that was the shooter. Okay.
One of the guys.
He looked like him. And he's a Hispanic male, but the guy who was seen shooting was a light-skinned individual, sounded to be African-American to me. But, hey, the police thought they got the right guy. Brandon Gonzalez was given a $2 million bond. $2 million bond. Brandon Gonzalez then made his next move, his best move. He called Wilkinson and Campbell right away. He didn't hesitate. He didn't wait on the bond hearing. He didn't bond out, then try to call us and ask for a discount. He called us soon as he got charged. We went and saw him the same day. We got with his family. They got us hired almost immediately. And right then and there, we started to put together all of the witnesses who can corroborate his alibi. Right then and there, we started grabbing witness statements. I remember we met up with his whole crew.
At the pizza place.
At the pizza.
Yeah, at the pizza place. Over wings and pizza. Stop playing.
And they told us he's not guilty of this, and we gonna give y'all everything y'all need statement-wise so y'all can go get our guy out.
Mm-hmm.
Lo and behold, I'll never forget it. He was in there 9 days. We had filed all our motions like we normally do. We filed our writ for a bond hearing. They set us for a bond hearing. I'll never forget it. I'm sitting at the house just chilling, parlaying. Drew called me. Man, they finna let him out. They finna let who out? They finna let Brandon out. And they finna have a big news press conference. Immediately, of course, I had to stop everything I was doing, throw my suit on, go pick up Shake. And we going up 30 East headed to Greenville because we got to be there for the release of our client. Drew met us up there, and it was almost like, one of the most accomplishing things that I've ever done in my career. Seeing an innocent man walk out of jail for what he had been nationally accused of being a mass murderer, seeing him walk out of jail 9 days later, being able to go back home to his family. But the damage was done. He lost his job. His reputation was plastered in the community. But in that time, he got released and we had that press conference. That was a joyous time. Drew, you remember this case?
I remember, man, like yesterday, man. It was one of those things, man. It was real accomplishing. We got in front of them news cameras, allowed Brandon to speak, said our piece. But, what stands out to me is it's just another one of them cases, man, where a prosecutor tries to convince the public that they have broken a case, that they have figured a case out. It's almost to the point, bro, I think they just be doing that shit to convince themselves or something.
Right.
Because it's like, almost like with the Puffy thing or like with the YSL thing. It's like we gonna prematurely, before this case even goes to trial, tell you we got the right person. We know we got the right person. Even though we ain't been to trial, even though we haven't stopped collecting evidence, we haven't stopped interviewing witnesses, we haven't none of that, And I do truly believe that is why we win a lot of cases and why we'll keep winning. Because DAs back themselves into a corner, right? And they put themselves in a position to be beaten. They do it to themselves. Like before we even hire, before we even put a suit on, they do that shit to themselves. The sheriff actually got on. It might have been CNN. I know if it was for sure ABC and all them other ones, but it might have been, I'm talking about this was like world stuff. Got on there and said, we have caught the assailant. And understand, y'all, public opinion is a real entity, is a real thing. Just because me and Mike don't fall victim to it doesn't mean that these other people don't. Prosecutors will really tell you they've made their case and tell you they've got the correct person just to persuade or to massage public opinion, or to give, or to settle the public down. So you got to understand, people in that community wanted answers, and rightfully so. They wanted answers, though. They were, who did this? I mean, it was a capital murder of multiple persons. It wasn't just one person, right? So the community was in an uproar. They were outraged. But understand, the last question was, what makes a good lawyer a good lawyer? Somebody that can operate under pressure. You have to be able to operate under pressure. And I would submit, it's probably a lot of pressure when the entire county is counting on you to get to the bottom of a case. But if you are willing to trade in your integrity, right, because you can't operate under that pressure, you're willing to trade in your integrity to take a big risk on telling the public, one, that you got the right person when you don't, and two, honestly, Brandon Gonzalez may never recover from that. You see what I'm saying? Like, economically, you know, like getting a job, or, I mean, the man moved to Florida, and when he got off the plane, somebody recognized him, and he going down there to start a new life. You see what I'm saying? So you got to understand the lengths that prosecutors will go to try to persuade you guys that they've done their job. Okay, when they actually have a pretty hard job, because they have to make sure they get the evidence, then they have to deduce the evidence in the correct manner, then they have to apply the evidence to the situation and find the correct person. Now, understand, I'm not a prosecutor, so that ain't my problem. But, you know, it just, you know, and like I say, like I've said before, I respect any prosecutor that is just as passionate about putting people in as I am about keeping people out. I got good reason for them feeling the way I feel. I'm sure they do too. But if you're willing to compromise your integrity for it, it's like you a cheater. It's like you playing dominoes and you taking skull. And every time you call 10, you giving yourself an extra 10. You see what I'm saying? Like, you ain't even that good, fam. You're not good. You doing that for you. Because I don't think you're that good in the first place. I know how to be winning. I'm checking the skull. You see what I'm saying? But if you got to get out here and lie to win a case, you got to get out here and hide evidence to win a case. You know, it's you know, it should just tell you about that specific prosecutor in that specific county. You know, so, but I am glad we got him his freedom. I'm glad we got him out. Hadn't talked to him in a while, but I bet he's doing way better than he was. And you know, we're gonna continue pushing.
Yeah, one more thing about that. Yeah, it was a blessing. Again, he walked out, case dropped, didn't have to pay a dime. But I mean, it was a gift and a curse, because, like you said, he go to Florida, he get recognized as a person who's been accused of murder. That's something that's gonna follow him. He did try to sue the breaches out for the police, but you know, they have immunity. So, you know, immunity covers all of that, and that's a whole nother episode for another time. But, you know, when officers do something that egregious, I don't think immunity should be able to cover that. You know, you alter this man's livelihood by getting him fired, arresting him on his job, and accusing him of being a mass murderer, and then you get to hide behind immunity. I don't agree with that. I think your shoddy investigation, your lack of due diligence in arresting this man in less than 48 hours, you didn't talk to enough people. You didn't knock on enough doors. You didn't send out enough letters. You didn't make enough phone calls. But you wanted to get in front of the public, get in front of the camera and lie to the public, knowing that you had did a shoddy investigation, and tell the public that you got the right man. The nerve of you. See, that's where the passion come out of me. Because how dare you, the audacity of you, knowing that you did a shitty job, but still try to get out here and convince these people that you got the right person. And guess what happens since that, Mr. Sheriff? Y'all still ain't found the right person. Because you cut the investigation off way too soon, and y'all let evidence stale and get too outdated. Now you can't even find and bring justice to them people's family who lost their lives. That is a shame. You should lose your job.
Didn't even want to be held accountable for it.
You should lose your job, Mr. Sheriff. Think about that. Think about that. But hey, I digress, man. I digress. Moving along. Lastly, we're gonna switch it up a little bit. Hey man, shout out to the college athletes who got a big win a couple of weeks ago in the case of House versus NCAA. If you guys haven't heard, there has been a major breakthrough in college amateur sports. Now the colleges, the schools and universities are allowed to pay these college athletes who are performing and bringing a multitude of revenue to these schools. That ruling came out a couple of weeks ago. And now they're also, based on that ruling, they're going to back pay all college athletes $2.8 billion from 2016 to present. So if you played in that time and you brought some good to that school, you may want to reach out. You may be due some money. Also part of this deal, $20.5 million every year the schools are going to be allowed to pay their students. That's in addition to their scholarships. That's in addition to their other benefits and NIL deals that they may have. We know in 2021, the law came where that allowed companies and corporations to pay student athletes, but now the school can pay them directly, and there is no never mind about it. This has been something like when we were in school, that was a no-no. That was something that could get the school in deep trouble with NCAA and get you disqualified as a student athlete. Reggie Bush lost his Heisman Trophy because of it. And now these 17 to 18-year-old kids are able to make income, a sizable amount of income as an amateur athlete. And I'm just happy for them. I'm happy for them because I don't know how y'all feel about it, but I know this affects the African-American community much so, because a lot of these athletes you see on these cameras playing in the NCAA tournament, Final Four, March Madness, and in the college playoffs are African-American students. It used to be you had to make it to the pros to be able to buy mama a house or put food on mama's table. But now these 17 to 18-year-old students have the opportunity to make it D1 and get a NIL deal from the school and help mama at 17 to 18-year-old. That is great, man. What you think about that, Drew?
I think it's awesome, man. I think it's amazing. I think it's going, it's a lot of pluses to it. Athletes going to have to be smart with their money.
All right.
It'll open up a lot of new jobs, financial advisors, attorneys, NIL agents and the like. I think it's for sure going to change the trajectory of a lot of African-American households, a lot of disenfranchised households, highly skilled. A lot of highly skilled players come from low-income communities, man. And to be quite honest, I played a lot of ball growing up. I'd be at basketball camp and they would say things like, there might be 300 people at the basketball camp, and they say, a very small percentage, who wants to go pro? Everybody raised their hand. Well, do y'all know that a very small percentage of y'all gonna go pro? Maybe one or two of y'all from this, out of all 300, 400 of y'all to go pro. That was true, right? Well, now you don't necessarily have to go pro to change your life. You don't necessarily have to go pro to take care of mama. You don't necessarily have to go pro to possibly earn you generational wealth. You see what I'm saying? I mean, it's kids I know right now getting paid $20,000 a semester. Like Mike mentioned, that's just your school money. You might have a couple of endorsements going on. That's more than that. You see what I'm saying? I think it gives athletes a much better incentive. I think it gives hopeful parents of athletes like me and Mike an incentive to be more involved as well.
Absolutely.
And I honestly think that sooner or later it can't help but trickle down to the high school community.
Yeah.
Pretty soon, high school players might get a little bit of money, or at least be open for an endorsement deal. Right. You see what I'm saying? I remember playing for the Dallas Mustangs. Y'all might be too young to know, but old Byron Eaton went to Lincoln, went to Oklahoma State University. That boy was ice cold. He was ice cold.
And basketball.
Footballer, but I'm talking about, I remember being in sixth grade, bro, Dallas Mustangs. Nike scout there.
Come on,
sixth grade, nigga. Quit playing. You see what I'm saying? So, like, what I'm saying is like, it might trickle on down to where, these players, they're going to have to play ball. It ain't going to be no more, this and that. It's going to be this what you do, man. You
Oh,
know what
yeah.
I'm saying? And another thing, I don't think they should get rid of that no pass, no play either. You're going to have to be book smart too.
Right.
You're going to have to be on top of your shit. You see what I'm saying? Because
Right.
now it ain't just competing for a scholarly, it's competing for that money. It's competing for that bag. Boys is getting bags.
Come on now, it's a check.
20 mil cap right now, and the cap steady going up every year. 20 mil.
Yeah,
I mean, these NCAA teams gonna be pro teams, damn near.
Come on now.
So you could go to college 4 years. I mean, well, here's the deal. Let's really talk about it. The top players that's getting the most money probably not gonna go all 4 years, right? Because they the coldest players. So let's make sense of that. But you can make it out of school. I mean, it's plenty of people that play college ball end up going overseas, not getting paid like they should, having to come back home. Reality hit them. And if they ain't got no skills anywhere else, or the Lord don't bless them to do something that they good at in their field, they kind of got to start from ground zero. But this gives you the opportunity to make it out of school with a bag. I mean, you could be an entrepreneur, start your own business, start your own whatever. I mean, you graduating with a degree and 500,000.
Come on now.
You sitting stupid.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
that's what's up, man. I think it could, they're going to have to figure some things out. There's going to have to be regulations like it needs to be with everything of this type of magnitude. Maybe a collective bargaining agreement like the NFL and NBA have. Maybe a player union to protect the players too when it comes down to it. But yeah, I think it has the potential to change the life of a lot of individuals. I also think about the situation in which a person may have to decide, if I'm making so much money as a college athlete, why would I even go pro now? And I don't know my draft stock. For example, a Quinn Ewers or a Shedeur Sanders who slipped in the draft, he lost a lot of money on the NFL side. But also, hell, I could have went back to Colorado and made more money in Colorado than I could have being a first year sitting on the bench for the Cleveland Browns. So, it's going to be interesting to see how a lot of things play out with the colleges being able to essentially be an extension of the pro league. So I'm excited because I'm a big sports fan. I know Drew, he got his babies out there right now. They finna go out there and dribble. They finna go
right now.
Come here, Storm. Right now. I told my son, I say, hey, son, this is your opportunity. There we go.
We finna go make 200 right now. Right when we get out. Go put the shoes
forward to them babies. These babies now have so many opportunities that we never had at their ages. So we got to pour into them, continue to encourage them, and show them the ways to be better than we were, for sure.
And then, bro, think about it. Imagine if you were an agent, just to build on what you said. That's more bargaining power, bro. I'm Shedeur Sanders' agent. You know what I'm saying? If you ain't going to pay him this, we ain't, we're going to go back to Colorado. So come on. So you could really, you know what I'm saying? You use that as leverage and make the pros come on with it.
Come on now.
Okay, you ain't going to come on with it, bet. We're going to double back next year. We're going to go get this money, double back next year. That man got drafted. He already a millionaire, fam.
Yeah, already a millionaire.
I mean, if he ain't want to play no more, he could put himself through medical school, law school, whatever school, or just go be an entrepreneur or something. You see what I'm saying? Or sit on his money till he find his way. I mean, you got millions of dollars, so I think it's a big opportunity, man.
So my advice to all parents of inspiring athletes, is get you some good counsel, some good advice. Get around somebody who really got your best interests at heart, because there's gonna be a lot of people with anything else out here trying to, do shady shit, corruption, who try to get a piece of the pie. Get you some good counsel, some trustworthy counsel that can help advise you or your athlete through these times that, unprecedented times. So your 17-year-old, 18-year-old son is not blowing thousands of dollars. He's putting it up in savings. He's starting trust, putting it in trust, putting it in businesses so he can sustain that throughout life. And don't be out here buying all these Hellcats and all this fake jewelry and all this other shit, but actually using that money, because the 17, 18-year-old with that kind of money.
Put some stocks.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, we just want to holler at y'all again, man. We appreciate y'all for steady watching our videos. We're going to keep getting better at this thing. We're going to keep giving you guys the raw, information, legal perspective, but also from the culture perspective as well. Y'all continue to subscribe on YouTube. I'm attorney follow us on Instagram. I'm at attorney_Mike Esquire 25. He's at attorney Andrew Wilkinson. Anything else, Drew? Closing remarks?
More on Puffy. I know y'all got some more questions about Puffy, man. Why he ain't got out? We got more on Puffy next episode. We coming up on our 10th episode here pretty soon. Elated, man, and happy. I hope to be on our 100th, man, by the end of the year. But like I say, we just gotta, between work and family, we gotta make time for y'all to get these shots in, and we're gonna keep going. Keep sending your questions in for Q&A. We'll keep informing y'all on cases and new litigation. Signing out, man. Love y'all.
Yeah, and one more last thing. Looking to bring live guests on the show. We're looking to be able to go live ourselves to be interactive with the people on shows, and DM us all your questions that you have for legal questions for the legalese and me section. Checking out Not Guilty Boys.
For sure.